Family, here's my testimony. I'm going to try and make it as brief as possible. My parents they got married and they had my older brother, Charles, and myself. And my brother passed away 2 years ago, unexpectedly. And I believe they got divorced. My parents got divorced when I was around 7. And when my mother and I left, my brother stayed with my dad, and we moved probably about a half hour, 40 minutes away. Not only did we move away, we moved with my mother's boyfriend. And I was petrified of this man. He, very scary, and very traumatizing to a child to leave their family, their house, and then not understanding why you're going to live somewhere else with a stranger. This man would put the fear in me, reprimand me. He didn't hit me, but he was just not a nice person until he decided that now that he's got me under enough control to manipulate the situation. He ended up molesting me. I'm not going to go into great detail about what he did, but he did molest me. I did speak about it. He didn't make any threats about, anything. I did say, do remember him saying if I told my father, then my father would be in trouble. So some nonsense. And I didn't tell my father, but I did tell my mom, and nothing was done about it. This man stopped molesting me, but he would flash me. He would, if he had a robe on, he would open his robe up. Now, mind you, I'm 7, I believe, when this happened. He finally left once my mom had found out that he was cheating on her. I can't tell you I was so happy that he was finally gone. But he also had shown me, that it's okay to hit a woman and nothing happens. I seen that. I seen my mother get slapped by him and nothing happened. So already starting to learn behavior of abuse is okay. And if you say anything about abuse, nothing's going to happen. And so I, after he left, I found myself, well, even prior to him leaving, I found myself to be kind of on my own. I was one of those latchkey kids. I had my key around my neck. I would go to school. I remember first, second grade getting up, getting myself on the bus, getting myself off the bus. My mother, working. I remember being alone a lot. So I definitely now realize I had abandonment issues. I've left my dad, I left my brother, I left the security that I had. It's, well, not left, I was taken away from the security that I had. And that, between the abandonment and then knowing that abuse is okay, disrespect is okay, these are all things that I'm starting to process in my little mind, thinking that this is normal. Men can treat you like this. Anyone, for that matter, can treat you like this. All the while, on top of that, I'm dealing with daily bullying from one particular person at my private school. I'm dealing with bullying from my aunt, not my aunt, I'm sorry, wrong person. Bullying from my grandmother, my mother's mother. Um, just constantly being attacked for my appearance, for just anything. My mom, she did her best when this man left. She was working through 3 jobs. She was putting me through private school. She did the best that she could, and I'm thankful for that. Um, I didn't realize that my father wasn't contributing as much as he should have, but my mom chose not to pursue, asking him to help more. I did see him, I believe it was every other weekend. He would come and pick me up. And not to dismiss the financial aspect, that it wasn't there. He was present. My father, anytime I needed him, he was there. And those weekends I would spend with him, well, sort of, which adds to the abandonment issues that I had, that I'm going to add. in the next sentence that I'm gonna give to you, trying to think and talk. So my father was a DJ in the town that we were in, and his thing was, even before I was born, he would go to the club on the weekends. And then he started DJing at the club on the weekends. And so once I left, and I would wait for him to pick me up on Saturday morning after those Saturday morning cartoons went off, I'd wait for him to pick me up. We spend a little time together. And I would end up getting the question of, do you want to stay here or do you want to go to your aunt's house while I go to the club? I don't see my dad, but he's everything to me. I don't see him all the time. I don't see him every day, but he's my world. I love my daddy. And now I'm getting left again. You're leaving me to go play at the club. And now my choice is to stay in this house by myself, 3-family house, basement apartment, scared to death of it, or have to go out to my aunt's house. Sometimes I will go to my aunt's house. And that didn't always seem to be the right decision either, because of some of the things I was dealing with my cousins. But either way, it was still a safe place for me to go outside of staying at my aunt's house. I'm staying at my dad's house alone, but oftentimes I chose to stay in the house alone, scared. And so again, more abandonment. And moving forward, once I got into high school, I decided, because I was dealing also with weight issues. I got into high school. I'm like, I'm gonna lose all this weight, and I'm gonna get a boyfriend, and everything will be right. That's exactly what I did. I lost weight. I met my children's father, along with a few other people, but mainly my children's father. And I'm not gonna let the other few people off the hook. None of them were upstanding men. So let's put it that way. I met my children's father. Um, I liked him. He was funny, and he was someone that I could spend time with, someone that was willing to give me time. And that's what I needed. Because even in high school, I'm on my own. My mom's working third shift. I'm on my own still. And so in middle school, I'm on my own. High school, I can kind of be on my own, but I think you understand where I'm going with this. And so when I met my children's father, um, toxic. It was great in the beginning, it was great in the beginning, but again, we're young. He's young, and he was with many people. I ended up getting sick multiple times, sick as in STDs. Go to the doctor, get it taken care of, and just repeat the same cycle, because I didn't want to be by myself. There was many times that he broke up with me, and I would beg him not to, because I just didn't want to be alone. And so this went on for years. We have 3 children. We've broken up and gotten back together from then up until I finally told him it was time for him to leave. I'm leaving out another part here. I was the breadwinner. I was always the one taking care of everything, paying for everything when he did live with me. And I just, and he barely worked. And I got tired of, you know, the excuse of, well, it's Friday, I gotta go out. From what's the purpose? I have to have my own day, is what he would tell me. And he didn't work. But I went along with this because I didn't want to be alone. The disrespect, the fights, some of them, I'm going to be honest, some of them I caused. I would get furious and just provoke him because I would be so angry. Um, Physical fights we've had. I've had a black eye and some bruises, but I did my best to fight back. I don't know what condition I left him in some of those times. So mutual fighting. And this is all happening in front of my son. And I decided, well, let's add more to the mix. I want another baby. And I gave him an ultimatum. I said, you know what? If we're not having any more kids, then go your way, I'm gonna go mine. Well, we ended up having twins. And nothing really changed. You know, he still did what he wanted. He still was disrespectful, still cheating, and I still was allowing it and going along with it because I wasn't alone. I was content with not being with having someone there, having that body there, having that body on the other side of the bed. I know this is resonating with somebody, even though it was toxic. It made sense to me. Looking back, I, I there's just no way. I would never even entertained a friendship with him. But we have to go through certain things in life. That's part of the process, and hopefully learn from it. Hopefully heal from it and not make repeat those mistakes. And so ultimately, I remember, was it 2017? My twins were still little guys, and it was early 2017, and he was out late and he came back. Him and I got in a fight. I remember he took and put me in a headlock. I had blood in my ear. My eye was a little bit bruised. Now my son, oldest son at this time as a young adult, comes in to break up the fight while the twins are sleeping in their beds. And so at that point I had to leave. I was going to a baby shower in another state, and I left. And it was at that time I was like, this has to stop, because he wasn't sorry. He wasn't. It took. It was like pulling teeth to get him to apologize. He wasn't sorry about it. And at that point, I was like, this is not going to work anymore. It's just not. I didn't kick him out, but I allowed him to stay in my house for months. And this is around the time when I met that person I was speaking of in that last video I had did. It's someone I had already known, and he and I started hanging out, and like I said, it was friends with benefits. I thought this person was what I was looking for, and then parents wise he was, and what he was doing he was, you know, what he had, it to me is what I wanted. And I remember him saying to me, you know, you got loose ends. You've got to, you know, make a decision on what's going on with your children's father. And I was like, now before, if any, I would have never done that on my own. I would have just probably continued to let him just stay there until I finally got tired, or we got in another fight, or who knows. But it was at that point in time I was like, okay, no problem. And so I told my children's father, you got 30 days to move out. And then he said I can move out in 3, and I said okay. And he left. Still involved with their children, still helping to take care of them, but it was rough, because he just couldn't believe that I didn't care anymore, that I didn't love him. I didn't care about what happened to him after all those years of taking care of him. Like, how could she just change like that? Well, I did. And I started seeing this other person, spending time with them, doing things with them, and it was great. And I had remember even asking God, I'm like, well, is this the person I'm supposed to be with? Now, I'm not in a relationship. I haven't turned my life over to the Most High yet. But I remember asking him, and I got nothing. And so I was like, okay. It's right now it's beautiful. It's fun. I'm enjoying myself. I'm happy. However, this person would body shame me. Um, I'm not going to go into details, but he would body shame me. Um, Sometimes say not so nice things, and I will put up with it. Now, while this is happening, I can tell I'm getting stronger. I can tell that things that will go in one ear will go or aren't going out the other. You know, my children's father used to be able to just say anything to me, would lie to me, and I'm just like, okay. It was like all of what I dealt with him prepared me for this situation, because I knew when he was lying to me. I knew when I discovered that he was cheating. The signs were already there. It was like just the same person, same situation, different person. If that I pray that I'm thinking that makes sense. Sounds like it makes sense. But I still wanted to be around this person, even though he was being mean to me. I still put up with it. Now, here's one thing forgot to add that's a big thing. I was paying his bills. We came up with a deal of, it started off with some furniture, I was going to get for my house, and he helped pay for it. And I started reimbursing him back. And then it turned into, because he was going through his own situation, that he needed help. And I started helping him. I was paying his mortgage. I was buying groceries for him. I wanted to show him, hey, we can work together. We can do this together. We can be a couple. And at the beginning of all this, before all this started to happen, he had already told me he didn't want a relationship. And I just was like, okay. But in my mind, I'm like, but there can't, no, he said, I'm not ready for a relationship right now. So I was like, oh, right now. He didn't say ever. So there's still a door open there that I might be able to enter. So let's just go ahead and see how this goes. I know I'm not the only one that's done that. So how it went was for a year, I was helping him financially. I was getting what my needs fulfilled, the tension that I needed. Um, and I had fun. I had good times with him, but I also had to deal with those other aspects that I mentioned. And now at this point, I'm starting to spend more time with God. I'm starting to pray more. I'm starting to read scripture. I'm starting to notice things about myself. I'm starting to get a little bit stronger and not as naive as I was before. And I would go home from leaving his house and I'm like, this man doesn't even really know me. I'm holding back. I'm not truly showing who I am or saying who I am, because in ways I was intimidated by him. He was perfection to me, and I just looked at him and I was like, he can rule over me. It's okay. That's completely honest. Even though I was getting stronger and I was like, this is not okay, Cassandra, because this is not who you are. You're stronger than this. You're better than this. So, like I said, it went on for a year, and once I found out that he was seeing someone else, um, I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Am I not worthy of being loved? It I can't physically give myself to somebody anymore and it not mean anything. I just can't just have sex just to be having sex. This is not who I am, and it never has been, because whenever I was with somebody, um and there was no true meaning into it, I always left it feeling depleted. um so I'm just not built for um random just having sex just be it's just that's just not who I am. I know that I have a person out there. I don't know who it is, and I know that I'm supposed to be with someone that is going to value me, love me, respect me, uh provide for me, and I can do the same with them, and it's mutual, and then we complement each other, and that the most high is at the center of what I'm talking about, of the center of this relationship. I know that. And so ultimately, I left, and I started getting stronger. I turned my life over to the Most High. And next thing you know, what was it, 8 months later, we reconnect. I'm just getting these signs of I'm supposed to reach out to him. Watch that stuff, ladies and gentlemen. If you're seeing stuff on social media and it's saying reach out to your ex, or they're thinking about you, well, I did that. And he treated me so badly. It was all nice initially, but I think he was mad because I literally just cut things off. The finances, the communication, I changed my phone number. Um and so he just things that he would say and the way he acted. I remember he had called me on my birthday asking for a few dollars, came to my house and got it, and never even said happy birthday till he got home and texted me. And I'm just like, just random things to just be mean. And it was unnecessary. But I recognized it. Stop communication. Moving forward, spending time with the Most High, building myself back up, understanding that I am worthy of love. I am worthy of respect, that the Most High loves me unconditionally. He gave me everything I was looking for. The Most High gave me everything I needed. The love, the comfort, the healing in the areas that I didn't even realize. I mean, what I'm speaking to you about now, about, all the history of what I went through as a child, and I left a lot of stuff out, but it helped me understand how I got to the point of dealing with men, narcissistic men, men that um, have no problem just using women, have no problem disrespecting women, have no problem putting their hands on women. I realized how I got into the situation. And it's because I was the woman that was okay with all of those things I just mentioned. I accept full responsibility. I was okay with that behavior. And it's that's not what is meant for us. It's not that's not healthy. And so moving to 2019, I get a call from him. Um, I end up going to his house. I end up having sex with him because I'm still in love with this man, even though I'm working on myself. And next thing I know, he's asking, can he borrow my vehicle while I go on vacation to New Orleans to go see my family? And I remember, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was on the phone with him. And as soon as he said it, I was like, no, no, no. And I remember he got mad at me because he's like, you don't have to keep saying no. And even then, I didn't confront him. I could have, but I didn't. And I was just like, wow, this is what this was about. Now you need me, and now I've said no, and now you're pissed about it. And I remember going to New Orleans. I didn't loan the car to him. Remember going to New Orleans and reaching out to him. I know he was buying a vehicle, and now I'm on the ghost mode. Now you're not responding to me, until almost 24 hours later, and I'm just like, I recognize this. I see it. I was like, this. Why did I allow myself to go back into that again? Why did I do that again? At this point in time, um, I meet up with him. And mind you, I said, I know you're dealing with someone. No, I'm not. I'm not. God, God will always do these things to me, even with my children's ex. There'll be random butt dials from his phone, and I could hear him with other females, or I can hear him in the background talking about me. And so in this instance, I take my children to church, take them to our favorite park, and I had bought this person and his children to this park, and I get to the park, and lo and behold, guess who's at the park? Now, mind you, I'm not talking to him on the phone. We're not texting. He is. Oh, and he's not by himself. He's with his female friend and her child. And I was like, wow, this looks really familiar. This is what we used to do. But he wasn't dealing with anybody. Okay. So I was like, Cassandra, how long is this going to keep going? When is this going to stop? I had had enough then. It took that long, but I had had enough, and I was like, this can't happen anymore. So I ended up discontinuing contact with him, and I decided I'm going to get baptized. I'm going to completely commit my life to the Most High, because he's been consistent this whole time. Even when I didn't even realize that he was in my corner, that he was for me. This whole time he's had me. He's protected me from so many things that I didn't even realize. So I got baptized and I moved on. And that's why I mentioned the story about the Instagram page, because I was giving to this man. It felt good, and I could see how he was happy about it. But I was leaving, it felt good to an extent, but I was leaving myself depleted. And Most High said, do this page. And it has rewarded me in so many ways. I've met so many beautiful, phenomenal people. I have so many different friends from different areas of the world that I can pray with and conversate with and share testimony with. I've met so many amazing people. Most recently, the live I did with Sarah Grace. The Most High has allowed me to connect with so many different people that are going through the same thing or similar situations where they're struggling in life and they're tired and they're finally realizing they don't have to do this alone, that the Most High God will help them. So I'm thankful for that. That's one piece I left out of that video, is how rewarding it is, to communicate with you all and talk with you all and share, and how, something I say that has happened in my life helps you in some way, and vice versa. So that's huge. So I haven't, I've seen this person, getting back to him, I've seen this person here and there throughout the years, in passing, drive by, and I always wave because I'm not mad at him. Once again, and this took a lot of work, I accept my responsibility for what I did. No one forced me to pay his bills. No one forced me to do anything. I did that because I wanted a relationship with him. And he knew that I was willing to do anything for him. And so he took advantage of that. And I'm not mad at him for it. That's what he chose to do. I'm not mad at him. And for a while, I was mad at myself. But now I'm like, you knew full well what you were doing. You could have put that money to better use. There's other things that you could have done. You have 3 children that you're taking care of. Why would I think that he thinks that me keeping my money should matter? If I'm going to give him this money and he knows it, then why would he care about my situation? I'm not mad at him about that. I'm not mad about anything anymore. I'm not. I'm completely at peace about it. And what I look at it as, what the Most High has helped me to understand, to look at that situation as a blessing. It's a blessing. I think that's why I'm like, that happened, but it's a blessing because I'm not in the, I finally walked away from my children's father. I walked away from him, and I ran into the arms of my father. And that's huge, huge. Because we're talking about, I was with my children's father on and off since high school. So, so many chains broke off of me, even though it was ugly, even though it was difficult. God used a situation that was bad and difficult for good, and it saved me. And so, moving forward, since that happened in 2019, I've been on my own. I have found out who Cassandra is. I have allowed myself to heal. I have allowed myself to forgive myself for the things that I've done and forgive others. I found my peace. I realize what I like and I don't like. I realize I have a voice and I can use it. There's just so many things that the Most High has helped me realize. I found out who I am, and I don't have to people please anymore. I don't have to convince anyone to stay with me, or I know I'm not alone anymore. I've never was alone. The enemy wanted me to believe that, but I was never ever alone. And I just love that I can talk to God anytime, and he's always there for me. He is everything to me. And even with friends, I had a friendship that was toxic. And I love her. Even till this day, I pray that she's well, but it just wasn't something that I could. And I ended that around the same time that I walked away from this person I'm talking about. I walked away from her, and I had conversations with her ahead of time, about some of the things that she was doing that I didn't like. And part of it was talking about my personal business. And it had happened again. And I just was like, I'm done. I'm done with everybody. And I just didn't even go into detail of why I walked away. I changed my number and I never looked back. Um, yeah, I never looked back. But I love her and I pray for her and I hope that her life is well. But I just know that those type of relationships I can't be involved in anymore. I don't really have a lot of friends, very small circle, and I like it that way. Um, I'm very protective of my peace and who I'm around, who I allow my children around, what I'm listening to, what I'm watching. I pay attention to those things. Yeah. So I would wrap that up as my testimony of, you know, what caused me to be in those type of situations and why I allowed myself to be disrespected in the ways that I was disrespected. Um, yeah, that's pretty much why I'm sitting here talking to you tonight about this. I pray that something I said resonates with you, helps you to realize that you are invaluable to the Most High God. You are loved unconditionally, and you are not by yourself, and you don't ever have to stay in a situation where you have to beg someone to be with you, that you have to pay for someone to be with you, that you have to pretend to be someone else and not your authentic self. It's it's not what we're meant to do. And not only and one other thing I want to add is purpose. I found my purpose in this. I know my assignment, and we all have an assignment. The Most Guy gave you an assignment. And if you don't know what your assignment is, ask him, because we have work to do. You see everything that's going around on or in this world. You hear what's going on in this world. You know, what is good is bad and what's bad is good. And this that's another video. It's another video. I'm not going to get into that. But that's all I wanted to share. I shortened it up. We're about 30 minutes in. Like I said, I could have went into greater detail, but I think that I summarized it pretty well to help you understand how I got here. And I'm not going anywhere. I'm back now, and no matter what I'm facing, I've already talked to the Most High about this. I'm not gonna hide out in my little corner. And I mean, not that I wasn't doing anything, I was doing the work in my little corner. But I believe and I know from what my discussions were with him is what I was going through could have definitely helped you in some way. And I I understand that the Most High, you know, calls us to be part of His kingdom workers and part of His kingdom laborers, and we have assignments, and sometimes things will take us away, and the enemy loves that. I'm sure he was thrilled for that year and few months that I wasn't on here sharing testimonies, because there were people that I wasn't reaching. But now that's about to change. I am going to start reaching out to my brothers and sisters and share what the Most High God is telling me to share. And know that if I've reached one person, I've done my part. I've done my part. So that's it. I love you. Blessings on you. Until the next video, take care.